Hi, everyone. It's Bridget and Taylor again. Both of us
Hello,
boiling
hello.
in different locations today.
Oh, it's
It's
ridiculous.
almost July. Canada Day soon, coming here. So we're going to be celebrating this with our elbows up, and then you'll be celebrating the 4th of July on the weekend,
That's
with
right.
hot dogs and all kinds of other things. So it's a festive week. How
The
are you?
busy holiday. I'm lovely, lovely. Ready for some grilling out and some time at the lake.
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
out in the hot, hot sun on Saturday to
I
protest
was.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, I know who she is. She's this congresswoman from Georgia who I like to say rots peaches just by existing. She's not the sharpest
Yes.
person you've ever met. She is, Republicans consider her smart enough to agree with Donald Trump, but that's about all the
As
positive you
far
can
as we
say about
go.
her, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not a fan. What the heck was she
Yeah.
doing in Huntsville?
So, Moms for Liberty, the biggest group, I guess, down here in the U.S. that works on banning the books in
Yeah.
school systems, used
Hmm.
her for their platform with
Yeah.
Dale Strong and Katie Britt to raise some
Right.
money. And so I just think, as the city of Huntsville, we had to say something about,
Yeah. Good for you. Thank you.
yes, Big Back Marjorie, she's horrible, terrible, but, it is what it is. But we got out there and made a little noise and,
Uh-huh.
made the news. So
Yeah. Oh, good.
that
So,
was
and
fun,
it was
yes.
a good enough turnout. I
Yeah,
saw the video. Yeah.
about 100 people is what they said on the news. So
Hmm.
if the
Hmm.
news says it, it must be true.
It must be true. So, what
Must
else
be
are we
true.
talking about this? Well, before we get to the pièce de résistance, as it were, I want to talk a
Mm,
little bit about your senior senator from Alabama and
hmm
next governor. Like everybody agrees that since he's running, he's going to
mm,
win. Tommy Tuberville. Speaking
yes.
of knives that aren't especially sharp, who got himself in some trouble for saying something like complete, and I'm not gonna hold back. That's a racist thing to say when he was talking about
Oh,
immigrants in inner cities, calling them rats.
rats. Yes,
What
rats.
is up with that?
That is very large language. And then to follow it up with that you will not be welcome here in the state of Alabama if you have those communist or Islamic views. So even more hate speech on top of calling people that live in the inner city rats. We're not in a big city here in Huntsville, but I live downtown. You know where I live.
Oh, yes.
So I guess by this definition, I'm going to be a rat. So I want to be a city rat. And I guess that's better than a country rat. You know what I'm saying? I need a t-shirt. But you don't hear that kind of language until it comes to the racial South and racial
Mm-hmm.
Germany. And all, it's a lot coming from the next governor here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although to be fair, we hear this kind of language here too. Not necessarily this particular word, but the idea dehumanizing language to talk about certain groups
Yes.
of people. We've had that. Also, this idea that immigrants mooch off the system as a rule, as a group, and they're like, hmm. So pretty much everybody here on this in this country right now is an immigrant. Just saying, like I have
I'm just
indigenous
right.
roots. I have indigenous roots going back, in the thousands of years. Everybody else is an immigrant. I'm not, right?
Right.
But like so anybody who's come to the United States or Canada in all those years and who've
hmm
made lives here, what are you talking about mooching off
Right.
the system?
If you're not an indigenous person, you are here,
Right.
mooching off the system.
And how about people whose families have been here for 400 years, who came with the first boats, right? And who are
Right.
mooching off the system? Because there are people who mooch off the system from all backgrounds and all walks of life. Do we not get to criticize them, or is it just
Right.
that
No, I think it's just the rats, that live downtown that we get to criticize. And it's just scary that we're targeting one group of people so radically. Um, Now even on our state level, it's
yeah,
never dull down here.
no,
Never
and
dull
and
from week to week.
what I do appreciate is the number of like good people saying, "Wait a minute, no." not in my name. We don't talk like that. You can
Right.
criticize, if you want to say that the policies towards immigrants are too generous, that's one thing. You could, yeah, I mean, that's an argument that could be made, I guess.
Right.
But you don't talk about people like that. Anyway, to me, that's such a basic thing. Now, people have heard on Netflix about this new docudrama, or I'm gonna call it a
Mm,
mockumentary, The Poop Cruise. And
I
that,
think
first of
it's
all,
great.
you've seen it. I've seen it
I've
too.
seen it. Yes, I've
Yeah.
seen all four of their documentaries that they put out so
Oh,
far.
okay. All right.
Yes, train
And is
wrecks is
this,
what they call them.
yeah, I am not a huge fan. I wrote a review of it, trying to
I
save
saw
people
that.
their time. I mean, first of all, the title, like, Turd Boat was not taken. They could have used that.
Oh,
Poop Cruise was so bad, or the shit ship or something. I mean, there's so
right. The
many
shit
other
ship has
things.
got my vote.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's there's a connection to Alabama. That's why we're talking about it. Tell
Yes,
me what the
yes.
connection to Alabama is.
So when it went dead in the ocean, they were like, "Oh, we're going to tug you to Mexico," and then the ship sits there with no bearings, and by the time the cruise or the tugboats get there, they're closer to the U.S., so they tug the boat into Mobile, and that's where the people got off. They hit their planes, I think, over to New Orleans and then on to Texas, but um, it docked there, and they refurbished the boat there, and I think it had some more unsavory happenings to it while it was there in port, but um,
Well, it's hard
in
to
the
beat. It's hard to beat what happened when they were drifting, powerless and toiletless.
right, and just full of shit. Like they
So it's,
said,
the
when they
puns are
tugged
just,
the
yeah.
when they tugged the boat in, the boat got on tilt because it didn't
Ooh,
have its buoy,
uh,
its bearings, and so it was just floating down the halls in urine and brown water, if you can't call it anything else. And any boat that's small enough to dock in Mobile Bay here in Alabama, it's not a boat you need to be getting on in the first damn place.
thank
You know,
you. That was
Mobile
my
is
thing.
like go out of Mexico, I mean, go out of Miami to Mexico, get on a boat that's big.
Or the Caribbeans or something. So this was a cruise that left from Galveston, from Texas, going towards
Right.
Mexico and back, and then it
A
lost path. So
4 day
people,
event.
that's right. So for people who want to spare them spare themselves the disgust, like, this was, 4-day cruise, and somewhere along the way lost power. There was some kind of a fire also on board, but that got under control. And then
Right. I think it
basically there was
melted the
no.
wires. The
Right. So
fire
there was
melted
no way to get
wires.
back to get the power back. And so, well, the ship wasn't working. There were no lights on it. And then, food and fridges and stuff started rotting. But more to the point, toilets
It
stopped
did
flushing.
not flush.
Right.
And it,
And,
it turned to Pirate Island pretty quickly on there. You
well, or
know,
Lord
it
of the
went,
Flies. Uh,
yeah. I mean, it got
mhm.
gnarly pretty quick.
And my review of this is like, okay, so I get it. It's gross. Like, nobody wants to. There's no way to make this sound like it was fun. And I'm sure, AC was also off. Like, everything's off, and suddenly you're
mm,
like having to deal with the basic necessities, and having to make the best of it. But I mean, surely they had buckets. Like, I know you're not supposed to throw this stuff overboard, but this is kind of an emergency. There's thousands of people on this ship. Like, you can't
like
just keep it.
I,
So
I
you
would
have
have
to.
almost rather jumped, like, and take my chances in the water. Throw me a fucking float. It got a life preserver, but I cannot stay on here in this fecal matter and get pink eye. Like
Why did well, that pink eye would be the least of it, I would think. Like, he
oh,
could get dysentery. Like, this is
I
gross.
mean, no, just let me off. I'll take my chances. And there's lifeboats on the side. Why didn't they put
Right.
those down? Like, put the people in
I don't
and get
know.
them out.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
but
What
they
I
gave
didn't
them
like.
red baggies, no buckets, just red baggies.
Right. I didn't like about the documentaries is that it didn't really showcase that, because I'm sure some people rose to the occasion and thought, you know what, we got to deal with this, because there's no other, like, what else are we going to do? You can't hold it in, right? So you have to do what you have to do, and let's just do it in the best, or at least terrible, way possible. But instead, they kind of got
Yeah.
stuck on people being like grossed out. And I get that it's gross, but it was like,
So,
that was the whole point of the thing. And anyway, I did not like it, if that's
oh,
not clear already.
and I kind of fell in love with the little character that was there with his father-in-law or soon-to-be father-in-law, and he was trying not to have to go number two until they
Right.
got, back into port because it's just going to be a day and he can do it. And he scours the ship looking for the one mysterious working toilet, which I think they actually find at some point during their adventures. But I was really rooting for him because I have that same. I don't do public toilets well. Like,
It's yeah. Mm,
yeah, like it's got to be an emergency, and I was really feeling his pain, and I was like, if I was on this boat, I would be so sick.
mm,
But I'm not going to be on a
yeah.
boat that small anyway. Like, it's just not a good idea.
No, have you been on cruises? That's really not my like thousands of people stuck in the same place.
Mm-mm.
Not
No,
for
I've
me,
been on
but
one, and that was enough.
yeah. Where was
Yes,
that?
it
Where'd you
went
go?
out of New Orleans, just around the Caribbean.
Okay.
It was
Hmm.
a 3 or 4 day. It was short, but on a boat, there's nowhere to go.
Right, that's it. If you don't like it, you're stuck there unless you want to swim with the sharks.
That's right. I need to be
Hmm.
able to just land and get off and do my thing and mill
Hmm.
around and all the good things. But yeah,
Hmm.
cruises are not my thing.
No, even at the best of times, they're not my thing. Anyway, so
No.
now we've demolished that movie. Do you know what else? And like, what are the other train wrecks movies that you've seen?
So they just did one on Astro World,
Oh,
the concert that went bad out in Houston, Texas.
right.
They did one on the Woodstock concert of 1999 that, just uh, was very much Lord of the Flies. And I can't think to save my life what the fourth one was.
I can look it up.
Um,
I'll put it in the.
but they're all kind of interesting in their own right to see how things fall apart very, very quickly.
Hmm.
And I guess it's just that I don't primal human nature. I don't know, but it resorts to this, every time. So
Which is interesting because the book, and now I'm going to nerd out on you just a little bit, but
okay, good.
the book, The Lord of the Flies, that chronicles what happens to a bunch of schoolboys stuck on this island, and they wound up killing one of them in the group, and it gets pretty nasty. It turns out that they found out that there was some research done on what it because there had actually been a group of boys stuck on a desert island at some point
Mm,
with an adult, but then something happened to the adult, so they wound up by themselves. And it apparently in real life, the boys actually sorted themselves out and did the best that they could, and they
okay.
rose to the occasion. There was none of this as so clearly. It's a work of fiction, and that's fine. You get to invent stuff. That's the point of fiction. But in real life, the boys had actually behaved, very well and looked
Mhm.
after each other and had empathy and everything and cooperated with one another. So I want to say, like, I'm not denying that all these things that happen in those documentaries and those train wrecks and stuff. Like, I've been in situations where you want to just give everyone a
Oh,
big
yeah, for
giant
sure.
slap and say,
Right.
"Would you
Yes.
stop being such an idiot?" Um, like even this one, like I said in the review, have these people never camped in the woods? Have they never been anywhere where there was an outhouse?
No,
No, you
apparently
haven't.
not. No,
Okay, so
no.
like most people have. Anyway, so I prefer to err on the side and chronicle people who do well rather than people who do bad because that it has that reality TV feel to it, and that's
It
really not
does.
something I enjoy. I enjoy very
Right.
much. But
It's kind of cringy, but
all right,
it
what else are
seems
we
to be
looking? Yeah.
how it goes. What else do we have on the agenda today?
Well, I was. Did you see the ball of fire? Apparently, there was a
N-
meteorite.
No, I
You
missed
didn't see
that.
that,
No, I didn't see that. I don't know
right?
where I was, but I missed
Yeah.
that altogether.
It made the
It
news.
was
I think it was visible in some parts of northern Alabama, but I
huh,
didn't look at the details. I guess you had to be looking outside at exactly the right time
at
to see
the
it.
right moment, or by the pool looking up, or
Right. Yeah.
something fun.
Hmm.
Yes, but I did not get to see that one.
I see you're working on a different piece now.
Yes, I took a break from my hand after the mural. I had painted my soul full, and so it's time to start on a new piece. And at Nakalula Falls in Gadsden, there's a beautiful bronze sculpture of this Indian princess who is being forced to marry who her father wanted, and she didn't
Mm-hmm.
have her choice, and she ended up jumping off the falls and taking her life, other than marrying this man. And it, it's it's a sad story, but I think it's going to be able to be a cool piece of art. Um,
Mm-hmm.
about where we stand, and it's not always about the fall, but about the jump sometimes.
Mm.
So we'll see how it
Hey,
turns out. We'll
yeah.
see.
Okay. Is there anything we could share? Is there like a picture of it or something? Or can I
Yes,
put
I will
something
get
in?
you a picture.
Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
we're
Yes, 'cause I want
yes,
people to see it.
we're getting
Excellent.
there. We have a rough end sketch, and we'll start painting and soon.
All right. So
Yes.
we're having some celebrations underway, and I can tell you that in Canada, the elbows up, like the flags at Costco, they're full of flag. They have those big, massive crates of Canadian flags. Not a typical thing you see. Like you see some flags for sale, but there's a lot more this year than there
Huh.
would otherwise be. I think people are like, yeah, we're gonna show up with the colors and show the world, aka y'all,
Right, the
that
neighbors.
yeah, that we're still upset. We're not back together yet. Like we're
Right, right.
still we're
It's
still a little bit cold
hmm
shouldery. So
yes. Put the colors out there. I say.
yeah, and the fireworks and everything. So we'll see how that goes, and then we'll try not to melt.
That's right.
All right.
And then we will
Well,
talk soon.
exactly next week. All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.